The massive alien ships hung in space like deadly jewels, their crystal surfaces reflecting the light of distant stars. Captain Kim Tai-ho pressed his face against the observation window of the new Sol, watching the incredible sight unfold before him. 300 ships from different worlds had gathered here, all following orders from the Galactic Tribunal. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission," called Lieutenant Park So-minute from her station. Her young face looked worried as she adjusted the communication controls. "It is coming from the planet below." The sound that filled the bridge was unlike anything the human crew had ever heard. Voices sang together in perfect harmony, creating music that seemed to touch something deep in their hearts. But there was sadness in the melody, a kind of beautiful grief that made several crew members wipe tears from their eyes. "What are they singing about?" asked Tai-ho, though part of him already feared the answer. Communications officer Lee Dong-woo worked quickly at his station, running the alien language through their translation computer. His hands shook as he read the results. "Captain, this is a death song. The entire species down there is saying goodbye to the universe." The words hit the bridge like a physical blow. Dr. Han Minute-ji, the ship's chief scientist, looked up from her research tablet with wide eyes. "But that is impossible. Our long-range scans show millions of life forms on that planet. They cannot all be dying." Before anyone could respond, the main screen flickered to life. An alien face appeared, with skin like polished metal and eyes that glowed with cold intelligence. The universal translator made his words clear and emotionless. "Human vessel, I am Admiral Choi Young-soo of the Galactic Tribunal. You are witnessing the lawful execution of a dangerous species. The beings you see below are called the Kithara. They possess mental powers that grow stronger with each generation. Left unchecked, they will become a threat to all civilized worlds." Tai-ho felt anger rising in his chest. "Execution? You mean murder? What have they done wrong?" "They exist," the Admiral replied simply. "Their psychic abilities are beyond their control. In time, they will be able to read minds across space, to influence the thoughts of other species. The Tribunal has voted. They must be eliminated for the greater good." On the planet below, the beautiful death song continued. Through their telescopes, the human crew could see the Kithara gathering in their crystal cities. They were tall and thin, with pale skin that seemed to glow softly in the light of their sun. Children stood next to their parents, all of them singing the same sad melody. "Are they fighting back?" whispered Park So-minute. "Are they trying to escape?" Lee Dong-woo checked his instruments and shook his head. "No, Lieutenant. They have shut down all their defenses. They are not even trying to run away. They are just waiting." Dr. Minute-ji pulled up more data on her screen. "Captain, I have been studying their broadcast for the past hour. These beings are completely peaceful. Their entire culture is based on harmony and understanding. They do not even have weapons." "Then why does the Tribunal fear them?" Tai-ho asked. "Because they are different," Minute-ji replied sadly. "Because they might become powerful enough to challenge the old ways of doing things." The Admiral's voice came through the speakers again. "Human Captain, your species is still new to galactic politics. You do not understand the difficult choices we must make to keep peace in the galaxy. Sometimes, to save many, we must sacrifice a few." "A few?" Tai-ho's voice rose with anger. "There are millions of innocent people down there." "They are not people," the Admiral said coldly. "They are a threat that must be removed. You will observe from a safe distance and learn how justice is carried out." Through the observation windows, the crew could see the Tribunal's greatest weapon powering up. It was a massive device that could destroy an entire planet with one shot. Energy crackled along its surface as it prepared to fire. The Kithara seemed to sense what was coming. Their death song grew louder, more desperate, but still beautiful. Parents held their children close. Lovers embraced for the last time. Elders shared final wisdom with the young. None of them tried to hide or fight. They faced their end with dignity. "This is wrong," whispered Yang Ji-hoon, the ship's tactical officer. "This is not justice. This is fear." Tai-ho watched the peaceful beings below and thought of his own daughter back on Earth. She was about the same age as some of the Kithara children he could see through the telescopes. What kind of galaxy would she grow up in if this was how problems were solved? "Sir," Park So-minute's voice was urgent. "The weapon will fire in 5 minutes." The bridge fell silent except for the haunting melody of the Kithara death song. Every human aboard the new Sol was thinking the same thing. They had sworn an oath to protect the innocent. But they were just one small ship against the might of the Galactic Tribunal. The energy weapon reached full power. Its deadly light began to focus on the planet below, where millions of gentle beings waited to die for the crime of being different. In that moment, Captain Kim Tai-ho made a choice that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Han Minute-ji ran through the corridors of the new Seoul as fast as she could. Her research tablet bounced against her side with each step, filled with data that made her heart race with both excitement and horror. She burst onto the bridge just as Captain Kim Tai-ho was staring at the massive weapon preparing to destroy the planet below. "Captain," she gasped, trying to catch her breath. "I have been studying the Kithara for the past 2 hours. You need to see this immediately." Tai-ho turned to face his chief scientist. Minute-ji's face was pale, and her hands shook as she held up her tablet. "What did you find?" "They are not dangerous," Minute-ji said, her voice growing stronger. "Their psychic powers are not weapons. They cannot hurt anyone even if they wanted to. Their minds are built for sharing feelings and thoughts, not for causing pain." She swiped across her tablet, showing brain scan patterns. "Look at this. I analyzed their neural activity from the death song. Their brains do not have the areas that create anger or violence. They are physically unable to think about hurting others." Lieutenant Park So-minute looked up from her station. "But the Admiral said they were a threat to the galaxy." "The Admiral is afraid," Minute-ji replied. "Not of what the Kithara are now, but what they might become in the future. Their collective consciousness grows stronger each generation. In a few thousand years, they might be able to sense thoughts and feelings from other species across vast distances of space." Communications Officer Lee Dong-woo frowned. "That does sound dangerous. What if they could control other people's minds?" "That is exactly what they cannot do," Minute-ji explained patiently. "I studied their entire communication network. They share emotions and thoughts freely with each other, but they respect the privacy of other species. Even now, with their world about to be destroyed, they have not tried to influence our minds or ask us for help directly." Lieutenant Commander Yang Ji-hoon looked at the tactical display. "The weapon charges in 3 minutes. If we are going to do something, we need to decide now." Tai-ho felt the weight of an impossible choice. Do what? We have 1 ship. They have 300. Even if we wanted to help, we cannot fight the entire tribunal fleet. On the main screen, the planet below continued to sing its death song. The melody had changed slightly, becoming more urgent but still beautiful. Through their telescopes, they could see Kithara families gathering in open spaces, holding hands as they prepared for the end. "Sir," Park So-minute's voice was quiet. "I have been listening to their song. The computer has translated more of it. They are not just saying goodbye. They are singing about their children, about all the things they will never get to see or do." The young lieutenant wiped tears from her eyes. "They are singing about the stars they will never visit, the friends they will never make, the knowledge they will never learn. It is like they are mourning not just for themselves, but for all the good they could have done if they had been allowed to live." Minute-ji pulled up more data. "Captain, their entire civilization is based on helping others. They share resources freely. They have no crime because they can feel each other's pain. They take care of their sick and old better than any species I have ever studied. These are not monsters. These are the most gentle beings in the galaxy." "Then why does the tribunal want them dead?" Yang Ji-hoon asked. "Because they represent change," Tai-ho said quietly, understanding beginning to dawn in his eyes. "The tribunal controls the galaxy by keeping species separate and afraid of each other. But the Kithara could unite everyone through shared understanding." Lee Dong-woo checked his instruments. "Sir, I am receiving a priority message from Earth Command. They want to know our status." "How long until they can respond to our situation?" Tai-ho asked. 12 hours by quantum transmission. The Kithara will be dead in 2 minutes." The bridge fell silent except for the haunting death song. Every person there was thinking about their own families, their own children. What kind of future were they building if genocide became acceptable because it was legal? "Captain," Minute-ji said softly, "there is something else. The Kithara know we are here. They can sense our emotions even from this distance. They know we want to help them, but they also know we are afraid. They do not blame us for being unable to save them." Park So-minute looked up from her station with wonder in her eyes. "Sir, the death song is changing again. They are singing about us. About humans. They are including us in their final song, thanking us for caring about them even though we are strangers." Through the ship's sensors, they could feel something impossible. The Kithara were somehow sharing their emotions across space, letting the human crew experience their gratitude, their forgiveness, and their hope that someday other species would be braver than the humans felt capable of being. 1 minute to weapon firing, Yang Ji-hoon reported. Taiho closed his eyes and thought of his daughter back on Earth. What would he tell her when she asked what he did when he had the chance to save innocent lives? That he followed orders? That he was afraid? When he opened his eyes, his voice was steady and strong. Helm, plot an intercept course between the weapon and the planet. Maximum speed. The bridge crew stared at him in shock. Sir, that is direct violation of tribunal authority, Yang Ji-hoon whispered. Then we face the consequences together. The new soul burst out of hyperspace like a silver arrow, positioning itself directly between the massive tribunal weapon and the peaceful planet below. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on his bridge, looking at the hundreds of alien warships that now surrounded his single vessel like hungry wolves. Open all communication channels, he ordered, his voice calm despite the impossible odds they faced. Lieutenant Park So-min's hands moved quickly across her controls. All channels open, Captain. Tae-ho took a deep breath and spoke into his communicator, knowing that every ship in the tribunal fleet could hear his words. This is Captain Kim Tae-ho of the Human Federation starship New Soul. I hereby claim the Kithra species under official human protection. You will stop this attack immediately. The response came quickly. Admiral Choi Young-soo's cold laughter echoed through the bridge speakers. One human ship against the combined might of 300 tribunal vessels? Captain, you have great courage, but courage without wisdom is simply foolishness. Dr. Han Minute-ji stepped forward from her science station. She had been reading through legal documents on her tablet for the past hour, searching desperately for any way to help the Kithra. Actually, Admiral, according to Article 847 of the Tribunal Legal Codex, any member species has the right to claim protective custody of another species, provided they accept full responsibility for that species' actions. The communication channel fell completely silent. Through the ship sensors, they could detect frantic activity aboard the tribunal vessels as legal experts checked their databases. The ancient laws of the tribunal were complex, created over thousands of years by dozens of different species. Even the tribunal commanders did not know them all. Lieutenant Commander Yang Ji-hoon whispered urgently, Captain, are we really a member species? Humans only joined the galactic community 5 years ago. We signed the membership treaty, Minute-ji replied quietly. We have the same rights as any other species, even if they treat us like children. Finally, Admiral Choi's voice returned, but now it carried anger instead of amusement. Even if this legal technicality is valid, human, you would be required to prove your worthiness through trial by combat. Are you prepared to face our entire fleet in battle? On the planet below, something incredible was happening. The Kithra death song began to change. Where before it had been filled with sadness and acceptance, now it carried notes of wonder and hope. Somehow, through their psychic abilities, they sensed that someone was trying to save them. Communications Officer Lee Dong-woo looked up from his station with amazement. Captain, the Kithra are sending us a message. They want to know if we are really going to fight for them. Tell them yes, Tae-ho replied simply. Yang Ji-hoon activated the ship's combat systems, though his face was grim. Sir, we have 17 quantum torpedoes, limited shield strength, and a crew of 63 brave people. The tribunal has weapons that can destroy planets. I understand the situation perfectly, Tae-ho said, settling into his command chair. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what we are doing and why we are doing it. If we do not survive this battle, at least humanity will know we tried to do what was right. Dr. Minute-ji checked her instruments and gasped. Captain, something is happening on the planet's surface. The Kithra are doing something with their psychic powers. Through their telescopes, they could see streams of gentle light rising from the world below. The entire Kithra population had linked their minds together, focusing their collective consciousness on the small human ship that had come to protect them. The weapon platform is powering down, Park So-min reported with surprise. According to tribunal law, they must honor the trial by combat challenge. Admiral Choi's voice returned, colder than space itself. Very well, Captain Kim. You have invoked the ancient laws. We will give you 1 hour to prepare your ship and crew. Then we will destroy you and complete our mission to eliminate the Kithra threat. 1 hour, Yang Ji-hoon repeated quietly. Against 300 ships. The bridge crew worked in tense silence, preparing their single vessel for an impossible battle. They checked weapon systems, reinforced shields, and made sure every torpedo was ready. But everyone knew the mathematics of the situation. They might destroy a few enemy ships, but they could never win. Captain, Lee Dong-woo called out, I am receiving thousands of messages from the planet. The Kithra are trying to thank us. They say no one has ever stood up for them before. Minute G studied her readings with growing excitement. Sir, their psychic energy is incredibly strong. I think they want to help us somehow, but they do not know how to fight. They do not need to fight, Taiho replied. They just need to survive. That is what we are here for. Park So-minute turned from her station, tears in her young eyes but determination on her face. Captain, I want you to know that I am proud to serve under your command. Whatever happens in the next hour, we are doing the right thing. One by one, every crew member on the bridge echoed her words. They were afraid, but they were also proud. They had chosen to stand between innocent people and those who would murder them. The hour passed quickly. When it ended, Admiral Choi's voice came through the speakers one final time. Prepare to die, humans. Your species joins the Kithara in extinction today. The first wave of tribunal fighters screamed toward the new soul like metal death, and the impossible battle began. The first wave of tribunal fighters came at the new soul like angry metal wasps. Lieutenant Commander Yang Ji-hoon's hands moved across his weapons controls with deadly precision, firing their precious quantum torpedoes at the approaching enemy ships. Each shot had to count because they only had 17 torpedoes against hundreds of enemy vessels. Direct hit on the lead squadron, shouted Lieutenant Park So-minute from her station. 3 fighters destroyed. But for every ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place. The tribunal fighters swarmed around the lone human vessel, their energy weapons lighting up space like deadly fireworks. The new soul shuddered under the impact of alien fire, sparks flying from overloaded control panels as the crew fought to keep their ship alive. Hull damage on Deck 5, reported Lee Dong-woo. Emergency teams are sealing the breach. Captain Kim Tae-ho gripped his command chair as another wave of enemy fire struck their shields. He could feel his ship dying around him, but he refused to give up. Down on the planet below, millions of innocent Kithara were counting on them. Suddenly, Dr. Han Minute G looked up from her science station with wonder in her eyes. Captain, something incredible is happening. The Kithara are trying to help us. Through the ship's sensors, they could see streams of beautiful light rising from the planet's surface. The entire Kithara population had joined their minds together, creating a psychic network of unimaginable power. But instead of using it as a weapon, they were trying to share it with their human protectors. I can feel them in my mind, whispered Park So-minute, they are showing me things. I can see the enemy attack patterns before they happen. Yang Ji-hoon's eyes widened as information flowed into his consciousness. Captain, it is like they are giving me perfect aim. I know exactly where to fire. What happened next was impossible by all known laws of space combat. The new soul began to move with grace that no human ship had ever shown before. She danced between enemy fighters like a leaf in the wind, her weapons finding their targets with supernatural accuracy. Human determination merged with Kithara wisdom, creating something that neither species could achieve alone. The crew worked as if they shared one mind, anticipating each other's actions and responding to threats before they fully developed. 12 enemy fighters destroyed. Yang Ji-hoon called out with excitement. No, make that 15. But their victory was short-lived. Admiral Choi Young-soo's massive flagship Dominion broke through the fighter screen, its enormous bulk bristling with weapons that could crack moons. The dreadnought was 10 times larger than the human vessel, armed with the most advanced weapons the tribunal possessed. All power to forward shields. Tae-ho commanded as the alien battleship prepared to fire. The Dominion's main guns unleashed destruction that lit up space like a small sun. The impact sent crew members flying across the bridge as emergency alarms wailed throughout the ship. The lights flickered and died, replaced by the red glow of emergency power. Shield generators offline. Minute G shouted over the chaos. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Through their psychic connection with the Kithara, the human crew could feel something amazing. The gentle aliens were sharing not just their knowledge but their emotions. The humans felt the Kithara's gratitude, their hope, and their absolute faith that these brave strangers would somehow find a way to win. Captain, Yang Ji-hoon's voice was steady despite the destruction around them. I have a clear shot at their main reactor. But we would need to drop our remaining shields completely to get enough power to our weapons. Tae-ho looked around his damaged bridge. Park So-minute had blood on her face from flying debris, but she stayed at her post. Minute G worked frantically to keep their systems running while Lee Dong-woo tried to maintain communications. Every person on his crew had followed him into this impossible battle without question. Sir, Minute G called out, the Kithara are sending us something. They are sharing their entire collective memory with us. All their knowledge, their culture, their dreams for the future. They want us to have it in case they do not survive. The psychic connection grew stronger. Through alien eyes, the crew could see the beauty of Kithra civilization. Cities of living crystal that sang in harmony with their inhabitants. Children who could share their joy directly with their parents. Art that was created not by individuals but by entire communities working together in perfect understanding. They are showing us what the galaxy could become, Park So-minute whispered in amazement. A place where species help each other instead of fighting. Admiral Choi's voice came through the damaged speakers, filled with cruel satisfaction. Your shields are failing, human. Surrender now and I will make your deaths quick. But through their link with the Kithra, the crew felt something else. The alien children on the planet below were singing a new song, not of death but of hope. They believed their human protectors would win because they had to win. The alternative was too terrible to consider. The Tribunal flagship is preparing to fire again, Yang Ji-hoon reported. This will be the shot that destroys us. Taiho closed his eyes and felt the trust of an entire species flowing through his mind. When he opened them again, his voice was calm and determined. Drop all shields. Channel every bit of power we have left into the weapons. If we are going to die, we die fighting. The New Soul and the Dominion fired at exactly the same moment, their weapons crossing in space like swords of light. The explosion lit up space like a newborn star. The New Soul's quantum torpedoes struck Admiral Choi Youngsa's flagship at the exact moment the alien dreadnought fired its devastating weapons. Both ships disappeared in a blinding flash of energy that could be seen from the planet's surface below. When the light faded, two vessels drifted in the darkness of space. The massive Tribunal flagship Dominion was completely dark, its hull cracked open like a broken egg. Next to it, the much smaller New Soul floated silently, her engines dead and her lights flickering weakly. On the human ship's bridge, emergency power slowly came back online. Captain Kim Tae-ho pulled himself up from the floor, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Around him, his crew was doing the same, groaning and checking for injuries but miraculously still alive. Report, Tae-ho said weakly, supporting himself against his damaged command chair. Lieutenant Park So-minute worked at her station with shaking hands. Life support is functioning. We have emergency power only. But Captain, we are alive. Dr. Han Minute-ji looked at her instruments with amazement. Sir, the Kithra psychic field is still active. I think they protected us somehow. They focused their collective consciousness to create a shield around our ship at the moment of impact. Through the cracked windows of the bridge, they could see the remaining Tribunal ships. The massive fleet that had seemed so confident and powerful just minutes before now looked lost and confused. Their flagship was destroyed, their admiral was dead, and a single human vessel had somehow survived what should have been certain death. Communications officer Lee Dong-woo managed to get his systems working again. Captain, the Tribunal fleet is transmitting surrender codes. They are requesting permission to withdraw from this system. Surrender? Lieutenant Commander Yang Ji-hoon could barely believe what he was hearing. But there are still hundreds of them. They could easily destroy us now. Minute-ji studied her readings carefully. I think I understand. The Tribunal's power comes from fear and the belief that they cannot be defeated. But we just proved them wrong. One small ship defended an entire species and won. Their whole system of control is based on the idea that resistance is hopeless. The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of a Tribunal cruiser. An alien officer with silver skin and large eyes spoke through the universal translator. Human Captain, I am Commander Vex of the 3rd Tribunal Fleet. Admiral Choi Young-soo is dead. We request safe passage to leave this system. Tae-ho was quiet for a long moment. He could have demanded their surrender, could have used this moment to gain advantage for humanity. Instead, he simply nodded. Permission granted, Commander. Go in peace. As the Tribunal ships began to leave, something beautiful happened on the planet below. The Kithra death song transformed into something completely different. Joy and celebration filled their voices as they realized they were going to live. Their psychic network pulsed with gratitude that reached across space to touch the hearts of every human aboard the New Soul. Over the following days, as rescue ships arrived from Earth and the wounded were healed, the true impact of what had happened became clear. The story spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A single human ship had stood against impossible odds to protect an innocent species. The mighty Tribunal had been defeated not by superior weapons or tactics, but by simple courage and the willingness to do what was right. Other species that had been suppressed by Tribunal rule began to speak up. They demanded the same protection that humanity had offered the Kithra. The old system of fear and control started to crumble as worlds that had been silent for centuries found their voices again. 6 months later, Captain Kim Tai-ho stood in the observation dome of New Harmony Station, the first joint colony built by humans and Kithra working together. Through the transparent walls, he could see children playing in the station's central park. Human youngsters ran and laughed alongside young Kithra whose pale skin glowed softly in the artificial sunlight. His own daughter, visiting from Earth, pointed excitedly at the Kithra children. "Daddy, they are teaching me their songs. When they sing, I can feel happy even when I am sad." Dr. Han Minute-ji joined him at the window, carrying a data tablet filled with new discoveries. "Captain, the research possibilities are endless. The Kithra are sharing their knowledge freely. Their understanding of consciousness and emotion is centuries ahead of ours. Together, we are making breakthroughs that neither species could achieve alone." "And the tribunal?" Tai-ho asked. "Reformed completely," Minute-ji replied with a smile. "They have established a new council based on cooperation instead of domination. Species that were once enemies are now working together to build a better galaxy." Through the dome speakers, they could hear the sound that had started it all, Kithra voices raised in song. But this was not the death song they had heard that terrible day in space. This was a celebration of life, of friendship, of the bonds that could exist between different species when fear was replaced by understanding. Tai-ho watched his daughter playing with alien children who could share emotions directly, creating friendships deeper than anything humans had known before. The tribunal had tried to destroy an entire species out of fear of what they might become. Instead, they had given birth to something wonderful, a new age of peace among the stars. The children's laughter echoed through the dome, human voices mixing with Kithra melodies, creating music that spoke of hope and the infinite possibilities that lay ahead in their shared future.